The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Hey, hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the ACHA Power Play. We are live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up as always by Belly Up Sports and, of course, SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your first purchase. That's at SeatGeek.com. And again, check out their website. If you're a football fan like I am and you want to go to the divisional playoff games this weekend in Detroit, San Francisco. Let's see where else. Baltimore. And where's the last one at? Buffalo. How could I forget Buffalo? Make sure you check out SeatGeek.com and use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your first purchase. And I'm sure there's some great seats available. Hey, we've got a great show planned for you tonight. Glad to be with you here. Our first ACHA Power Play of 2024. The road to St. Louis is in full effect now. This is the sprint portion of the year. We talk about it every year here on the ACHA Power Play, but we are less than 7 weeks away from the national tournament tipping off, or the puck drop, if you will, in St. Louis, Missouri, March 7th through the 17th. Can't wait for that. I'll be there again this year down in St. Louis for the national tournament. We were there a couple of years ago, and when you see all the teams arriving now, there's 84 teams that are going to be converging on the Centene Center in Maryville University for games. All 5 divisions, again, converging in one area: men's D1, D2, and D3, and of course, women's 1 and women's 2. 24 teams in Division 1, 16 in 1, 2, or 2 and 3 in the men's, 16 in women's D2, and 10 in women's D1. So all of those teams will be converging on St. Louis. And I said it's going to be about 7 weeks from now, maybe. Anyways, it's less than 2 months. March 7th. That's when the men's D1 and D3 will tip off, or the puck will drop, as I said. And it's going to be a lot of action. We'll go through the setup of all of those again. And also the D2, the regional sites, of course, are set. We'll run through those for you as well here tonight. And we'll go through all the rankings. A lot of them are going to be updated later on in the week. I invite you to check out my Facebook page, Lewis Gamlin, or drop me a follow on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou as well. And I will have those updated rankings should they come out. We've got a number 1 team still in the land in D1. It's the same one as last time, Minot State. They had a couple of games against NCAA varsity opponents over the past holiday break in Colorado College and Denver. And it was a fine showing for Minot as they are looking to sharpen their tools, if you will, as they get further and further closer to the national tournament run. And, of course, teams like Adrian and a team that we're going to be talking about here in about 12 minutes as the head coach of Purdue Northwest, the 11th ranked team in men's Division 1. Carl Trosien is going to call us up, and we're going to talk a little Purdue Northwest hockey as they're doing quite well on a little bit of a roll going into the winter break, a 9-game winning streak as they will start things back up this weekend. Now, I know a lot of the teams in the Michigan area here in the Midwest, the storm went through. They had a lot of postponements, and so their schedules were all kind of topsy-turvy. Some of the games didn't get played. Some of them got pushed back until Monday. But, it's an exciting time right now for the ACHA as we are getting ever so close to the national tournament. Conference tournaments are going to start up in about a month. And as mentioned, regional tournament play is going to be getting along in Division 2 coming up the weekend of February 23rd through the 25th. And if you want to get a taste of what it's like in D1 men's hockey, watch the D2 style in men's ACHA hockey at the regional tournaments, because it is it's like a March Madness bracket, win or go home. And some of these regional tournaments, the teams have to win 3 games in 3 days in some instances to punch their ticket to the national tournament in St. Louis or wherever the Nationals may be at. So, yeah, we can't wait to follow along with that. And again, I will be there live in St. Louis this year. Really looking forward to going back to cover the Nationals, be a part of the play-by-play team, and we'll get interviews with coaches again. The ACHA Power Play, we have confirmed we will be doing it this year. We tried it last year in Boston. A little bit difficult with the setup, but this year we will have we'll have it ready to go for you, and we'll have intermittent shows throughout the 10-day period as to keep up with what's going on in the world of ACHA hockey at the national tournament. Apologize a little bit up front. My voice is still getting back into game shape as I was one of the 60,000 plus maniacs at Ford Field this past Sunday, cheering our Lions on to victory after 32 years without a playoff victory. So it was hollering and cheering and yelling from the word go about an hour and a half before the game started. We'll talk more about that tomorrow on the Captain Lou Extravaganza that you can find right here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube, 7 o'clock. We'll be talking all of the NFL football. But tonight, it's going to be ACHA hockey. And again, we've got Carl Trosien coming here in about 9 minutes, I believe, for he's going to give us a jingle. We're going to talk some Purdue Northwest hockey with him as, again, we'll get his feel on what it's going to be like here with the sprint coming up in the next 9 days. And also at the end of the show tonight, we invite you to stick around for that. We're going to say goodbye to a friend, an ACHA voice, Brett Luthner, who passed away about a month ago or so, or a little less than a month ago. Brett was one of the voices of the ACHA Nationals in the last decade, and he lost his fight with cancer. We're going to say goodbye to him and in our own way here in the end portion of our show. So we invite you to stick around for that as well. So again, welcome to our first broadcast here of the 2024 season, or calendar year rather. As again, we talked about, let's get right in. On our last ACHA Power Play, we talked about how we would let you know where you can watch the Division II Nationals. So we want to bring that up right now. Let's see if I can work my magic with the screen here. A lot of times it takes me a couple of minutes, but let's see. The Division II National Tournament for the men, as we talk about, it gets set up by regional play. And that's going to be like a couple of weeks before the national tournament, like 17 days before the nationals start in Division II. And so what they do is they go to 4 different locations as they have a bracketed tournament for 3 days. Now, how it works for the men's Division II, as we've explained quite often, the top 2 teams in each of the 4 regions, they get into the national tournament on automatic berths, automatic buys, if you will. Then 3 through 14, what they do is they will take place in a regional tournament, and it's single elimination. Now, the 3rd through the 6th seed, they all get automatic buys into the second round of the regional tournament. So if you can keep up with that, but then 7 through 14, they play, and it's a bracketed style tournament, as I mentioned. Winner go home. And as you can see right here, the 4 regional tournaments are going to take place February 23rd through the 25th. They're going to be in Grand Rapids at the Patterson Ice Center in Davenport. The Northeast Regional, again, will be in Keene, New Hampshire. A great setup up there. The Southeast Regional will be in Athens, Ohio at the Bird Arena, hosted by the Tri-State Collegiate Hockey League. And the West Regional will be out in Utah at the Eccles Ice Center, hosted by Utah State. So it's crunch time for these guys. They get a little added, I don't know. I don't want to use the word stress level, but it's excitement for us because it's great hockey. I've watched these regional tournaments over the years now, and I've covered a lot of them back when the Division III used to have a regional setup, but more teams now have gone to the D2 level as opposed to the D3 level in men's D3. So they've done away with the regional tournament now. They take the top 16 teams, the computerized rankings in D3. But in D2, they take the top teams in each of the 4 regions. The top 2 in each region get the automatic berth, and then 3 through 14, they will do battle in the regional tournament. So let's see if we can't bring up the men's D2 rankings and kind of give you an idea just where they stand. Now, as I mentioned, these were before the holiday break. The new ones are coming out this week. Once those are published, again, I invite you to check out my Facebook page, Lewis Gamlin, or the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page, or follow me on Twitter or X at the Real Captain Lou. I will share these with you. But to give you an idea right now, it would be Lindenwood and Concordia. They would have the automatic berths in the Central region, and so they would get to go to St. Louis. And then 3 through 14, everywhere from St. Thomas and Iowa all the way down to the University of Minnesota, they would do battle in a 3-day bracketed tournament. And as I mentioned, 3 through 6 would get the automatic berths, and then 7 through 14, they would do battle in the first day. And then it's winner go home. As with the Northeast region, you can see Northeastern and RPI are 1 and 2 right now. Keene State and New Hampshire Army and Amherst University, UMass Amherst, the defending national champions in men's Division II. Right now, they would have to go through that regional qualifying path to get in. And if you go to the Southeast and to the West, you can see that Florida Gulf Coast and Indiana are ranked 1 and 2. They would get the automatic berths, and those two teams having a great season. Again, Florida Gulf Coast always there in the national tournament scene. It seems like, you can always count on them getting to wherever the Nationals may be. And then in the West, Montana State and Providence out of North Dakota are 1 and 2. Then you've got Utah State, Loyola, Weber State, and MSU Denver. Montana State, Denver. They would be I always butcher that one. But MSU Denver, they're 3 through 6 right now. And then the rest obviously would play in the opening day of the regionals. So that's the Division II rankings right now in the ACHA. And again, that's the men's side. And if once we get updated regional rankings, we'll for sure pass you along on our social media pages. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we hope to be talking with the head coach of Purdue Northwest, Carl Trosien. He's going to stop by and join us. So stick around. You're watching the ACHA Power Play. It's live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube, powered up by Belly Up Sports.
It's the biggest game of the year, and your team doesn't have a coach. They don't even have a game plan. You probably aren't feeling very good about their chances. Make sure you're prepared for one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, retirement. Do you have a coach? What about a plan? Set yourself up for success by calling 877-222-8849 and having Mindy and Nolan McIntosh and their team at McIntosh & Associates create your retirement playbook. They'll help you think through taxes, income, legacy planning, and much more. When you're done, you'll have a customized retirement game plan that you can feel confident in. Start planning today with Central Michigan's retirement coaches, Mindy and Nolan McIntosh at McIntosh & Associates. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play Live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Again, we want to thank also our folks at McIntosh & Associates, a longtime sponsor of Captain Lou Sports Network activities and our football broadcasts on Michigan Sports Radio, too. And always a treat to have them on board. They'll be with us again throughout 2024. And again, proud to have them along here with us on the Captain Lou Sports Network. And of course, we're also powered up by SeatGeek.com and Belly Up Sports. Check out bellyupsports.com for our complete list of podcasts, what we've got going on there, and of course, all the great articles on Belly Up Sports. They cover everything, all the major sports, all the collegiate sports. That's bellyupsports.com. We're live here on the ACHA Power Play. Again, the road to St. Louis is in full gear as we are less than 2 months away from the start of the national tournament. It all kicks off March 7th, in St. Louis, Missouri at the Centene Center. Starts out with the men's D1 and D3 on the 7th, and then the men's D2, and they start on the 12th, I believe, and then they actually start on the 11th, and then the women's D2 start on the 12th, and then the women's D1 start on the 13th, and the men's D1 and D3 wrap up on the 12th with their national tournament. the 11th, and again, of course, is when you see the semifinals and finals. All right, let's go to our guest line right now, and let's bring in a friend of the show and coach of Purdue Northwest, Carl Trosien. Carl, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you?
Good to be back, Lou.
How was your holiday?
Holiday was great.
Get a little rest and relaxation, ready to go for the sprint now, right? For getting on the rush to hopefully for a Nationals berth.
That's the plan as of now.
So, Carl, right off the bat, you guys had a good first semester. Ended it on a good note. In some ways, I bet you're sorry to see you had to take a little bit of a break.
I was telling anybody who would listen, can we just keep going? Because yeah, so many times, we've been doing this a long time, Lou, and so many times you're beat up, you can't wait for the break to get here quick enough. If you're injured, you get guys fatigued, you're hitting that wall. This is the first time where I was like, let's keep going. Why stop now? Like, this is great.
And then you get the game canceled last weekend because of the horrendous weather that we got here in Michigan. Couldn't catch a break, huh?
No, I mean, it's funny. The boys are ready to go, and obviously it's a different excitement, right?
Yeah.
When you come back to camp and you're sitting where we're sitting, I guess there's probably a lot of coaches out there who got to generate some excitement, some buzz, and some energy for their second half. And when you're sitting in the situation we're in, it's kind of happening organically, right? Everybody's ready to go. Yeah. Everybody's excited to go. So I'm lucky. I have a great group, and they're ready to work, and then they want it. So I mean, that's half the battle.
Well, Carl, you and I have talked a few times, and you took the job. This is your second year at Purdue Northwest, and when you went in, it was kind of not really last minute, but it was kind of late in the game.
Oh, it was last minute. Call it what it is.
Okay, well, it was indeed last minute. Okay, I won't be politically correct on that one.
No, absolutely not.
But one of the things that you had said was going to be one of your first challenges is getting the guys to buy in, and you can tell that they have been. It seems to be working.
So we upped it this year. We talked about buy-in last year. And like I said, yeah, a bunch of guys did. I came back with that leadership group that I built last year, and I had a really, really special group come in. I mean, Coach Tom Zach did a great job bringing in some really high character kids. Mm-hmm. We talked ownership this year. I don't want you guys, no more buy-in.
Yeah.
Now you've been here a year. You've all got skin in the game. Like, we need to up that ante. We need more than buy-in. Let's get some ownership. You guys got to start taking ownership of the program. And we went that route with it. And honestly, like, that's probably one of the best things we did. It's different here right now. And everybody uses that word. I don't want to use the word special.
Yeah.
But it's different here. And dude, we have character kids. Like, our team is loaded with character kids. We've got kids that are, it's community service. Here's a tidbit for you. We had the highest male GPA on campus. We were like a 3.44 this last semester.
Oh, wow.
So I have kids we're getting it done in the classroom. Right now we're getting it done on the ice. Like, I just have a group that, like, I haven't had this much fun coaching hockey in a long time, Lou, and that's saying something.
I could tell it in your voice. I could tell you're ready to jump out of the phone even, and one of the things that's equally impressive, Carl, is you got if my math is right, you had 30 boys or 30 guys on the roster, and 26 are freshmen and sophomores. I mean,
you nailed it.
It's a young group, but they are just group. Really, really doing well, and that and that to me is a great achievement.
No, I don't think sometimes they're so young they don't realize kind of what we're doing.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Sure.
Young and dumb, right? Sometimes, right? Like, I don't think it's really. We had some really lofty goals to start the year, and they did that, not me. Like, we sat at team meeting day one and said, "What do you guys want to do?" And the goals were really lofty. And I remember our coaching staff called our captains back into the coach's office after the team meeting, at athletics, and said, "Guys, I love it. We love it. I love the energy. I love where you guys are at. But man, this list is this is next level stuff. Like maybe we need to, pare this back a little bit more into, something that's obtainable. And they were like, no, this is our list. And we were like, oh man. And then, you brought in 12. We brought in 12 more kids. So like we didn't get off to the hottest start. I'm not gonna lie to you. The first month and a half, we had some sophomores, some kids that we were light on last year, not maybe get off to the start they wanted to get off to, and they started pressing. You have some freshmen trying to figure it out. So like our first month and a half wasn't great, if that makes sense. We had some kids pushing the panic button there a little bit because we are young. And then, man, somewhere along that Kelvin Grand Valley stretch of late October, early November, things kind of fell into, as you can tell, things kind of fell into place, and we just kind of took off. And it was just, like I said, but man, don't kid yourself. There was some panic there with some of our kids being like, okay, this is not how we saw this going. And again, that's just,
but isn't that normal?
It, right? Yeah, I think
isn't
so.
that normal with young kids that are getting adapted to it though? And it's just a different all around, especially the freshmen, isn't it? Isn't it?
Oh, 100% it is. Yeah. And I don't know, man, like it's only going to get tougher. I mean, with the new conference next year, it's only going to get tougher, which is so exciting, by the way.
Oh,
like
God,
I can't tell you how exciting that is. But no, like it is. But I think that's what makes this fun, right? Is if it's easy. I mean, like we talk about all the time, like what's like last year, the big rip on us last year was, we're sitting just outside. We didn't get into postseason.
Yeah.
And my kids were like, oh man, I think we should have went. I'm like, well, let's talk about what your biggest wins were. Your biggest wins were you got Kelvin in a shootout, which is a tie.
Yeah.
You beat Grand Valley once. Like, okay, like out of 3 times. Like those were your marquee wins, right? Like let's call it what it is. You didn't have, a ton of marquee wins. But now this year we're sweeping and we're splitting with everybody that's around us in the rankings, right? And now we've got marquee wins on our resume. So I think just, I think when you're just outside that top 20, trying to play your way in, it's okay. How do I beat the teams just ahead of me? How do I beat 17? How do I beat 16? How do I split a weekend, right? Because you need those marquee wins. And now we're like in a different world, right? Because now you're like sitting in 11, and you're like, okay, how do I break into the top 10, right?
Right.
Now I gotta beat a couple of those. I gotta go beat a Maryville. I gotta go beat an Ohio. I gotta go beat an Adrian, and that's really, really hard because those teams are really, really good.
Well,
but that's the next level for us, right? That's the next level. Is okay. Now how do we get into that? How do we get into that grouping of teams, right? Because you see it in the rankings. You got those top 3 or 4 teams, and then you got like 5 through 8, 5 through 10, 5 through 12, and then after that, like you're always trying to get to that next level of grouping. So for us, that's the goal: is how do we get to that next level now?
Yeah, I mean, it's like now the way the Nationals are set up. Now you kind of want to try to get in maybe the top 8. You get a bye out of the first round.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a seems like an attainable goal. It might be a little lofty, but it could be attainable.
And I'm not even saying this year. I'm saying like long term. Like you're always looking to get into that next year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, me and Mike Trosien Calvin talk about that all the time. You're starting a program, you're moving up. Okay, I want to be in the top 25. Okay, now I want to be in the top 15 consistently. Okay, now I want to jump into the top 10. Like you're always pushing the envelope, trying to make that next jump. And I'm just lucky that I have some guys that are around me that are really good friends that are in that category. Or, in one case, I got a buddy who's, been at the top of the heap. He's been the last team standing, 3 times in the last 6 years. So, I think those guys, to be honest, push you to keep working and maintain and get after it, right? Like, everybody's looking at Adrian, everybody's looking at, the Minots of the world, and you either want to go do the work to catch those guys, and that's recruiting, that's with your team, that's practice, that's team building. You either want to go do that, or you're like, no, I'm okay, I'm cool where I'm at. This is okay. So it's just, what's your approach, right? Like, how do you want to attack it? And for us, it's right now we want to see throw the poker chips in the middle of the table and see what we can do here.
Carl, looking at your team right now, coming out of the break, you talk about balanced scoring and so many contributors, and what really stood out to me was, on the power play, for example, you got Carter Hobbs, a defenseman. He's got, if I'm not mistaken, he's your leading goal scorer on the power play. So that's kind of a nice weapon to have.
Yes, it is. And he's not a kid he's not gonna blow you away he's not got a big shot. It's not anything overpowering. It's not crazy. He's really smart, and he gets pucks to the net, and he knows how to use screens. He knows how to find legs and use traffic, and pucks find their way in the back of the net. And I mean, that's all you can. I mean, they all count the same, right?
Yeah. I mean, now, how much in practice do you guys work on special teams? I've always been fascinated with that.
So early in my career, it was probably like once, maybe twice a week, and now we're spending 20 minutes a day, probably 2 days a week, so probably a good 40 minutes a week at least, maybe even 50, depending. Is wrapped into special teams right now.
Mm-hmm. And and one of the things that I noticed at the national tournament, or even with the battle with the good teams, is how much more emphasis is put on that and on the back end of the ice.
Yeah, no, I mean, we talk about it all the time. I think if you can win a special teams battle, it definitely. I mean, if you're going with you're talking about a process to win hockey games, special teams battle is always one of the things we talk about. If you can come out on the plus on special teams, if it's a goal or two, it's a goal or two. I mean, now you play even up 5-on-5, you win a hockey game, right? Mm-hmm. So I just think that it's become such a part of hockey, just understanding that those power play goals, they win hockey games at the end of the day. They really do.
Well, and I look also, and you and I have talked, and I've talked to a lot of teams. If you're going to be successful, you got to have a good goalie tandem or a standout, and you've got that with Cooper Olsen and Elias Johansson. They're both playing well for you right now.
And I can't not say this, being a goaltender, right? Like, we're in a world now today where goalies are, there's so much emphasis put on goalie coaches and individual, just helping kids through things. And I've got one in Cooper Olsen. I kid you not, the kid's old school. There was a time last year where he was struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
And I went up to him and I said, "How can I help?" And he goes, "Coach, I just need reps. I just need practice reps. I'll work through it. I'll be fine. Give me a week or two." And I was just like, man, they don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
They don't. Like, plays his way through it, plays his way out of things. He watches film and he'll ask questions, but he's not overly technical, not going to sit there and want to pick a goalie coach's brain. Like, it's refreshing. He's athletic.
Yeah.
He relies on his athleticism. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen one like that or had one like that. It's kind of refreshing to know that he's okay. He's going to figure it out if he's struggling. You know what I mean? And and when he's on, he's so good. So, I mean, that's why we are where we are.
Well, and I got to tell you, he's also in the lead right now for one of my Captain Lou awards at the end of the year, because I think he's the leading scorer for goalies in my count. He's got two assists now. He's got to maintain that. So we'll see.
I love that. He's got to maintain that. I love that. I'll let him know you said that too. Don't worry. So I'll make sure that that gets passed along.
So are you going to let him, if the other team's got an empty net, are you going to let him do a Chris Osgood and try to shoot it cross ice into the net?
2 goals, not 1 goal. It's got to be 2.
All right. I want film of that, unless you do it at, I hope Mike Petrusman is not listening, but unless you do that at Calvin at the end of the year when I'm broadcasting that, then I'll be able to grab that. Boy, if he's listening right now, I'm in trouble.
I love it. No, you're not. You get it, man. It's all good.
No, we're here with Coach Carl Trosien, the head coach of Purdue Northwest, 11th ranked in the ACHA men's D1. Kind enough to spend some time with us here tonight. Carl, you brought up the new conference next year, and I know how excited. I talked with Mike Petrusman. I've talked with with Grand Valley and Davenport. And what I like about this is, you were part of it at Grand Valley, and with Calvin building their D1 program up, because they were a D3 power until a handful of years ago. And you guys at Purdue Northwest and Davenport's always been there. You've got Adrian. I mean, this is going to be one hell of a conference. This is going to be one of the toughest conferences in D1, because I think right now 5 of you guys are ranked, and it's just, I'm excited as a broadcaster.
I would lie to you if I said we didn't sit around and talk about that on a regular basis. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Like, we want to play really good hockey every night. I know in the ACHA sometimes that's not as easily said as done as it is said, right? Like,
right.
I want to load my schedule with, but to have a conference that's that loaded with teams that, I mean, and the cool thing is that we talk about it all the time, and I don't know if you've realized it yet, is other than Grand Valley, who's got a lot of school support behind them, they're all athletic department run programs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, it's you got athletic department support there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see those programs falling off, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for us, I mean, let's call it what it is. As a conference, we all know your strength of schedule as a conference.
Yeah.
It's how you get to nationals.
Sure.
So we're all sitting around saying, okay, how do we put 3-4 teams at nationals? Well, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. And oh, by the way, you get a lot of attention for your players. And then you start to get some guys, say you get attention for your juniors and seniors who maybe want to play hockey after graduation and go ride buses, in the SB, right? This is how you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's, I mean, I'd be lying if I said we weren't all really tight. You know that because you're in the Grand Rapids circle.
Yeah.
So you know how tight me and Mike Trosien and Matty Sakozin and Gary Estalos all are.
Yeah.
You know how good the buddies we are. So for me, and I can throw Phil Sweeney in the mix now. God forbid, he's back. But no, in all reality, we're a tight knit group of guys.
Sure.
And we love being around each other. So for us, it's one thing to be able to do it with teams that are really good. It's another thing to be able to do it with some of your best buddies in the business. So I mean, man, we're excited just because we're all as tight as it maybe appears that we are, probably more than it appears sometimes. And to be able to do that with your friends and have such a strong conference, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, at the end of the day, if it comes down to Gary and my not again at nationals, you better believe, like, I want Gary to win, right? So
sure.
We're all pulling for each other, and we spend a lot of time talking hockey on the phone during the week. I'll tell you that right now.
That's awesome.
That's my wife. She's like, "Are you done talking with Mike Trosien yet?" No, I'm not.
That's great. So I got to ask you, how did you guys finally convince Chris Van Timmeren to get Hope to go to D1 to join your conference in a few years?
I had no part in that. I'm gonna guess that was. We all know how it works. I'm going to guess Calvin had success, and Hope said, "Hey, Chris, it's time to go." And we're going to welcome him.
Oh yeah, he's a good dude.
That being said, I think there's a few of us who are going to be okay, maybe watching him struggle a little bit out of the gate. How about that? Like he cuts his teeth. Like, there's a few of us that I mean, he's put a whooping on a lot of us back in those old D3 days.
Oh boy.
We've all been through it, right? We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
So, you gotta give him a hard time, right?
Well, of course.
He's a good dude.
He's a very good dude. Yes.
I mean, we're gonna figure out real fast how. I mean, it's everybody else, right? Like, we all had to jump up and build a program, and now he gets to do it, and I'm excited to see what he does and how he goes about it. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm really encouraged to see. I saw him at the showcase out on the road a few weeks ago over the holidays. So here we go. It's a really, really good traditional ACHA powerhouse.
Yes.
At another level that brings a bunch of national titles to the table. And again, it's athletic department funded. It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really good league.
Oh my God. I know. I can't wait. And, it's just every week. And, it's, I got a feeling before long, Chris will have that team right back, right up there in national prominence in D1.
I have to believe you're probably right.
So getting back to your team, Carl, before we wrap it up, again, this is the sprint. You got, a month, calendar month before your conference tournament. And then the Nationals right around the corner, hopefully, good Lord willing, you guys make it there. What, if anything, do you need to kind of work on, shore up, maybe tweak a little bit to keep the roll going, if nothing else?
Oh man, that's a loaded question, right? No, I think right now for us, it's keeping our energy up and keeping our focus. And we're there right now, like we are. But we're gonna get into the schedule here for the 3-game weekend coming up here this weekend, and I think we got to be the same hockey team when we play Oakland as when we play Concordia this weekend, as when we play Illinois, as when we play Grand Valley and Calvin. Same intensity level. And I think that's what most teams in D1 struggle with. I think it's really, really hard to give the same level of effort every night, regardless of who we're playing. So for me, that's going to tell me a lot about where we're at and where we got to go from here. It's just, once we get through opening in a second semester on Thursday night at Concordia, what's Friday and Saturday look like against Oakland?
Right.
Where are we at? Because like I said, it's really, really easy to get up to play Adrian. Trust me, Adrian's getting everybody's A game, right?
Yeah.
Grand Valley and Calvin right now are getting everybody's A game. But what do you do against Roosevelt, Illinois? And because they're not bad teams. Like, we've played them all and we've had some success against them. But at the end of the day, right, we're sitting here going, Concordia's sitting there. They've won some games. And you know that. You were in the WAC for a while. And, Roosevelt's sitting there, they're in that next level outside the top 25. And, they're hungry to win some games here, going away and build for next year. So it's just can't get complacent. Right. Can't be happy with where we're at. And we got to understand that whatever we do here the next 4 weeks is going to carry over to the national tournament. And, God willing, we get to go for the first time and make an appearance.
Well, Carl, this has been fun. I'll let you get back. Sounds like your kids want your attention.
Out of the blue all of a sudden, right? Just here they come. Yeah.
It's all good, man. I appreciate taking 20 minutes out to rap with us about some hockey, and look forward to seeing you in a few weeks up in Grand Rapids when you guys come up to play Calvin.
Hopefully we have a couple more Lions wins to talk about.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, my voice is still almost 100% after Sunday. It was it's like I tell my wife and I tell her, it was an experience that will last a lifetime. To be there for that was.
I'm gonna admit something to you that I told my wife the other night. I was more nervous the last 7 minutes of that football game than I have ever been on the bench in a hockey game.
You want to know something as funny as my son was sitting to my side. I said, the last time I was this nervous is when you were born. And I
right.
And he looked at me and I'm like, dude, I can't, because when I pace when I watch the games, and you're sitting there with 60,000 people and we're all screaming. I couldn't pace. So it was.
So it's funny because we're in Detroit this weekend for Concordia and Oakland.
Oh gosh,
so of course, I have a handful of guys, and I'm like, please tell me we're not playing on Saturday. Or please tell me the Lions don't play on Saturday. Please tell me. Yeah. So the schedule comes out for Sunday. I think the first group chat that went around was with my Michigan guys. My Detroit guys were like, does anybody know where we can get tickets? Like, let's go. Let's stay in town. And of course, like, no, right, exactly. So, I mean, it's exciting, right? What we're doing here is exciting, but watching that after so long is it's all a playoff game. Like, oh my goodness, it's been 43 years I've been on planet Earth, and here we go.
Yeah,
the second one. What's going on?
I know it was so funny. Before I let you go, there was a guy standing behind me. I didn't see him the whole game, and one day when they finally won, he starts shaking my shoulders, and I turn around, and the guy says, "Hey," he said, "we've been waiting. You and I have been waiting 65 years for this." I said, "How old do you think I am?"
Oh, that's great.
But it was great. So, well, hey, good luck again. Thanks for coming on tonight, Carl. We'll see you in a few weeks. And
we'll talk soon.
All right, you bet. Thanks, Carl. Have a good night. All right, good luck. Bye-bye. Carl Trosien, the head coach of Purdue Northwest, always gracious with his time to join us here on the ACHA Power Play. And as he mentioned, they're ranked 11th right now in the country, and they're doing one heck of a job down there. He took over last year. It was kind of a last-minute thing, and one of the things that we talked about when he was on was, and I've talked to him on, off air a few times, is about, one of his challenges was getting him to buy in, and they have, and he's got a great group of kids, and they're a young squad, and the learning curve the learning time went quick, and they were able to learn. Now they're on a 9-game roll. They're going to open back up the second semester with Concordia, as he mentioned, and then of course with Oakland coming up. But yeah, that's what it's all about right now with crunch time coming up. We're going to take a quick look at the rankings in the ACHA in men's Division I here. I can see if I can even bring it up here. I think I can. There we go. Let's take a quick look at, as you'll see, the next ones will be coming out here again this week. They'll probably be on social media tomorrow. But as of last week, Minot State ranked number 1 in the country. Adrian 2, Central Oklahoma 3, Jamestown 4, the Jimmies again just rolling, Nevada, Las Vegas. That's your top 5. Didn't change from before the break. But then you've got Maryville at 6, Ohio at 6, up from number 8, Liberty at 7, Maryville at 8. Then you got Niagara at 9 and Mary at 10. They make the jump this year. Dan Huntley's team up from D2 after just an amazing run at the D2 level. Now they're at D1 at 10. And then, of course, Coach Trosien's team at number 11, 17-5, doing really well. Calvin at 12, Grand Valley at 13. Those two teams played a month ago at in the Grand Rapids Sports Hall of Fame Classic. What a great tournament that was with the 4 Grand Rapids teams, with those two playing in the championship game. Arizona at 14, Utah at 15, Pittsburgh at 16, Illinois State at 17, Indiana Tech at 18. Then you've got Missouri State at 19, Delaware at 20, Westchester at 21, Iowa State at 22, Colorado at 23, University of Oklahoma at 24, and then Davenport at 25. Now, the key number to remember is there's 24 teams now in the national tournament in men's Division I, and but there's 8 automatic berths. So if you want to be safe, I would guess that you want to be right around 18, 19 maybe, just to kind of secure that berth, because some of those auto bids might be a little bit lower. It's happened in the past when there's only been 20 teams. For example, I think it was last year, the year before, in the WAC conference tournament, the conference winner got the automatic berth, and but in the semifinals, it came down to like U of M, Dearborn, and Aquinas. I think that was in 2021, and the winner of that game got into they got the last spot with the computer rankings, the at-large spot. So I tell you, those games are crucial, and so you want to be right in that area if you're in D1. So that's kind of a look at it. Again, the updated rankings will be out here within the next day or two. Now, remember, we're going to have ACHA Power Play broadcast every Tuesday now from here right through to the national tournament. So we're going to be your spot to keep up to date on all the rankings and all the positions here. Now, let's real quick get to some more rankings. Let's see if I can bring up the men's D3 rankings, as we talked about that. One of the powerhouses in D3 going to D1, that being Hope in the 25-26 season. But let's bring up the D3 rankings, as you can see Grand Valley still on top. They're undefeated. Florida Gulf Coast ranked second at 8-1. Again, Florida Gulf Coast, a mainstay in the national tournament every year. It seems like they're there. They make a lot of noise more often than not. One of the teams from the non-Michigan schools that get into the Final Four. Lawrence Tech at number 3. Ken Gaffney really doing a heck of a job with the D3 squad as well as their D1 squad. Hope, we talked about them. Chris Van Timmeren's team been to the Nationals, I don't know how many years in a row, the national championship game the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. Michigan beat them last year, but they're looking they're looking to get back to the promised land. They're at number 4 right now. Missouri at 5. Michigan State playing really well, 11-1-1. They're 6th. Air Force Academy at 7. Calvin is 8th right now. They're up from 13. They play the number 1 team in the land this weekend, Friday and Saturday, Grand Valley State. Those are going to be 2 just absolutely magnificent games. Can't wait for that this weekend. I'll be broadcasting the Saturday night game. That's going to be a dandy. Saginaw Valley at 9. They're doing a wonderful job. They're going to be going to D1 next year, along with Northwood University. So this will be Saginaw Valley's last year at the D3 level. They hope to make a statement in the national tournament. University of Michigan, the defending national champions, Cal Stripling's team, they're at number 10 this week. And then Oakland at 11. Arkansas, we all know what they've done over the years. They've been Final Four teams the last few years. They're right there at number 12. Missouri State at 13. Purdue at 14. Notre Dame at 15. And the Colorado School of the Mines right now at 16. So those are your top teams right there in the Division III level. And again, it used to be computerized ranking, or regional tournaments for these teams. And, I've been a part of watching a lot of those regional tournaments over the years when they had them at the D3 level. And you talk about some games that went right down to the wire, overtime games, teams that had to qualify through regionals that won the national tournament, like Aquinas, like Hope, Michigan getting their grant. I mean, it's just amazing. The gauntlet that these teams had to go through and make it through that, then to get to the national tournament. But now they don't have to worry about that, as they are they went to the computerized rankings. Let's see if we can't take a quick look at the women's rankings right now in women's Division I. Now, again, they play a 10-team tournament. And it's bracketed double elimination. It's a little bit. I will go through the bracket next week. So we hope to have a women's D1 coach on next week. Midland on top, undefeated, ranked number 1. They overtook Liberty. Liberty, 4 or 5-time defending national champion. Chris Lowe's team will be right there. Don't worry, they're going to be there at the end. They're ranked number 2. Another powerhouse, Adrian at 3. You talk about loaded teams in these rankings. All these teams just having a heck of a year. Michigan, without a regulation loss this year, they're ranked 4th. McKendree at 5. Maryville at 6. Arizona State, they were there last year. They're 7th. Minot, 8th. Indiana Tech, 9. And Dearborn, 10. All doing real well. Jamestown just on the outside at 11. But again, a lot of time left. You've got tournaments coming up that could help some of these teams get in as well. So you talk about some powerhouses in women's hockey right there, those top 4 or 5 especially. So, and finally in the women's Division II rankings, see if we can't bring those up real quick. We've got some teams that, again, now they play in a pool play at the national tournament like the D2 and the D3. Whereas they're guaranteed 3 games, and then the winners of each pool play in the semifinals and the finals. Villanova, again, ranked number 1 in their region. They've been number 1 all year in their region, along with the Naval Academy 1 and 2. Northeastern and Boston College kind of flip-flopping where they've been throughout the year in the Northeast ranking. Northeastern making a heck of a run all the way to the finals last year. They're looking to take that next step. The defending national champion, Sioux College, 10-0-1 last year. They won it all. What a heck of a run they had last year, knocking off Assiniboine, and both those 2 Canadian teams ranked number 1 in each of their regions, as you can see. Assiniboine ranked number 1, Dakota College ranked number 2, Lawrence Tech again ranked number 2 in the Central region, Central Michigan 3. All these Michigan teams looking to vie to get in. So again, we're about a month away before conference tournaments start, and then the final rankings will be announced. And we talk about this a lot with the rankings and with the conference tournaments and getting the final rankings, and then the regional tournaments in the D2 level to get in to the nationals. And the regionals are February 23rd through the 25th, as we talked about earlier. And after that's over, so the euphoria, is there. Oh my goodness, we made it. Like I'm going to use Kevin Brooks and University of Iowa, for example. We had him on early in the year. Great conversation with Kevin. They went to the regional tournament last year. They were, I think, the 9th seed or the 10th seed. They had to play that extra day. So they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right. They got to make financial plans just to go to national or to the regionals, right? So you win those, you're in. You get the spot in the national tournament. Then all of a sudden reality sets in, the financial end of it. You've got 2 weeks to raise the money to get there. You got to come up with motel reservations. Can the families go? You got schooling. I mean, a lot of these teams have like a team board with the players, and coaches. Reality sets in about 6 hours maybe after you win. You're ecstatic that you win, but now you really got to work at it academically. You've got to practice. I mean, it's great to be able to go, but this is what I admire about these kids, about the teams, about how organized they are. And even at the D1 level, all these levels, you get one of the last automatic berths, and then you're thinking, all right, we're in. Now we really got to focus. We've got to budget this. We've got to plan all of our, these are week-long stays for a lot of these schools, so it's fun, but there is so much work behind the scenes that goes into this. And, these are students, some of them 18 years old, 19 years old, and they got to juggle their classes. I look at the kids, that play, let's say on the 8th, they play tomorrow. They're in the corner reading or doing their homework. It's just, it's not all fun and games there. Yeah, they get to enjoy St. Louis, or when it was in Dallas, or last year in Boston, some of the kids got to go to watch the Bruins play or whatever. Yeah, it's great. But, the academic end of it too. So I got to tell you, it's so much work behind the scenes and so much goes into this. And these kids, they truly deserve to go there. And it's such a great reward for all the hard work that they do. So those are the rankings. And again, as I mentioned, we're less than 2 months away from puck drop for the national tournament at Centene and the University of Maryville for the 2024 national tournament for the ACHA 32nd year. It keeps getting bigger and better every year. 84 teams this year, with the bump up to 24 in men's D1. So really looking forward to that. Hey, I want to thank head coach Carl Trosien from the Purdue Northwest for taking time out tonight to be with us here on the ACHA Power Play. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to wrap things up here on the ACHA Power Play. Don't go anywhere. You're watching it live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube.
It's the biggest game of the year, and your team doesn't have a coach. They don't even have a game plan. You probably aren't feeling very good about their chances. Make sure you're prepared for one of the biggest financial decisions of your life, retirement. Do you have a coach? What about a plan? Set yourself up for success by calling 877-222-8849 and having Mindy and Nolan McIntosh and their team at McIntosh & Associates create your retirement playbook. They'll help you think through taxes, income, legacy planning, and much more. When you're done, you'll have a customized retirement game plan that you can feel confident in. Start planning today with Central Michigan's retirement coaches, Mindy and Nolan McIntosh at McIntosh & Associates. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
And welcome back, everybody, to the ACHA Power Play. We are live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. Again, want to thank McIntosh & Associates for being one of our sponsors since day one here on the network. Football sponsor, you name it. Check them out. Again, they'll be with us throughout the calendar year of 2024. And, of course, SeatGeek. Make sure you check out SeatGeek.com if you're going to be going to any of these sporting events, pro or college, the divisional playoffs in the NFL, you name it, check out SeatGeek.com. And while you're there, when you get ready to get those tickets, use the promo code Captain Lou for $20 off your first purchase. That is SeatGeek.com. Again, want to thank head coach Carl Trosien from Purdue Northwest for taking time out to join us here on the show tonight. Again, we'll be back next Tuesday with another edition of the ACHA Power Play. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Will be live at 7 o'clock. So again, I invite you to do that as well. We want to take, it's again, the Nationals coming up in in 2 months. Just want to keep reminding you that now is the sprint portion of our season. It just seems like yesterday, it was like right after Labor Day, we were starting another season of the ACHA Power Play. But with the cold temperatures here in January, it just reminds us that hockey is really kicking into high gear. The ACHA season, a lot of great games coming up, a lot of great matchups as teams get themselves ready for the national tournament push, conference tournaments. So check out achahockey.org for all the scores, all the stats of all the teams, who the leading scorers are and everything. And we invite you to check that out as well. Well, we want to end the show tonight. A fellow ACHA broadcaster and a longtime friend. I've just been blessed to be able to call him. I was blessed to call him as a friend. Brett Luthner passed away. You may remember him as a voice of D2 hockey in the ACHA. Dave Kurtz, one of the executive directors of the ACHA, brought him on board to do Division II broadcast. Back in 2017, I got to meet Brett in person for the first time when we went to do the preview shows at Liberty when he and Sean Broderick were doing the D2 preview show, and Sean Bednard and I did the D3 preview show for the ACHA. Brett was a good dude. You talk about passion. He did his homework, very passionate about what he did with hockey and minor league baseball. He was the voice of the national tournament at the D2 level, mainly over the years in the last decade. Brett was passionate about that. Him and I had long talks about the NHL, about pro wrestling. We'd go back and forth a lot, but the most passionate thing Brett was about his family and about his kids. And we both shared that passion. We shared it with hockey. We shared it with broadcasting. He was on the ACHA Power Play right about this time of year. We'd start getting geared up for D2, talking about the rankings and who should go this, where, there, and whatever. But he was always gracious with his time, and he's going to be missed. Brett was one of the good guys in not only broadcasting, but in all walks of life. And Brett, Godspeed, man. Fly high. I know you're up there broadcasting, your team from up there. And you're going to be missed at the national level at the ACHA as well. And so we thought we would close the broadcast here tonight by taking one last listen to one of his calls of the ACHA National Tournament back in 2019 when he was on the call for a Florida Gulf Coast victory in Dallas. And again, our wishes and our thoughts and prayers are to his family and to his children and to his friends as well. Brett Luthner, fly high, buddy. We're going to miss you. Here he is at the national tournament. Captain Lou saying so long. Before we do that, keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. And Brett, again, rest in peace, buddy, and fly high. Here he is as we close the show here on the ACHA Power Play.
Blocked down. The rebound's going to roll all the way to the empty net. It's going to go just wide, but Florida Gulf Coast winning the race is Wong. Tripped up on the play. Here comes the rush up by Northeastern. Half a minute to go in this national championship game. Played off the glass and back out. Northeastern with the puck, 21 to go. Up the boards, you can hear the Gulf Coast fans cheering. They've been the top team, one of their top teams all season, Florida Gulf Coast. 6 seconds to go in this game. In on the near side boards, going around with three. The centering pass broken up. And for the third time in the last 4 years, the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles are the ACHA Division II national champions.